exciting time today, right? Yep, it's Saturday. That means it's my weekend live stream, so this one will be longer than just a few minutes. So today, live streams are, as always, brought to you by my wonderful patrons over on Patreon, Cheryl, Eric, and Stacy, and you can find a link in the description to Patreon. If you'd like to support me and my ministry there to make sure that these videos keep coming up and getting better quality, because I keep getting a notification every time I start live streaming from YouTube that my camera resolution isn't the right resolution for live streaming. So that's probably not a good thing. Anyway, today I want to talk about the O antiphons and how the liturgical church in the liturgy anticipates Christmas with the O antiphons. You've probably heard of the O antiphons, even if you've never heard them called the O antiphons. They come from the early church. We find reference of them in the 6th century in some writings, and we know for sure they were used by the 8th century. And today we know them commonly as the verses to the song, O Come, Emmanuel. But they go back farther than that. In the breviary, the Liturgy of the Hours, they are the evening prayer verses for the last 7 days of Advent. And in the Revised Missal from the 70s, they are also the Alleluia verse, the verse before the Alleluia at the daily Masses. So the O antiphons really are anticipating Christmas. And they start on Monday, the 17th. So I thought I would just walk through the O antiphons and we'll talk a little bit about them, because the O antiphons are pretty great, and if you stick around to the end, I might sing the song. So, as we all know, the O antiphons are most commonly known by lots of people from O Come, Emmanuel, though that isn't the only place they're found. So, we're going to start with the first one. The first of the O antiphons starts on December 17th, and in Latin it is O Sapientia, which translates to Come, O Wisdom. So, O Wisdom from on high. And it's the wisdom of God, and it's remembering that God knows everything. He is all wise, and all wisdom comes from Him and leads back to Him. The second of the O antiphons is for the 18th, and it is O Adonai. So, O Lord of Israel, O Lord. Hello, Lisa. So, O Lord is O Adonai. It's God through the Old Testament. He shepherded the people of Israel. He didn't abandon them. He was with them. And their term for God was Adonai, because they did not say the sacred name of God. So Adonai is O Lord, and it reminds us that God was with us throughout salvation history, and that history is just being culminated in Christmas in the coming of Jesus Christ. Then for the 19th of December, we get O Radix Jesse. So O, flower from the stem of Jesse, or they translate it different sometimes, but it's about the flower comes forth from Jesse. Jesse was the father of King David, the ancient king of Israel, and it is of David's line that Jesus is born, so it's from Jesse. It all comes back to, in the Old Testament, to Jesse in Bethlehem was the father of King David, which was also then the great-grandfather of Jesus. So it goes all the way back, and it reminds us that this isn't Jesus coming at just however he wanted. He came into a family. He came into history. There was a purpose, and it had been foretold of old that David's line would last forever, and that he would be king over Israel forever. And that is really beautiful to think about, because that's what Jesus does. He is the king that reigns forever from his throne in heaven. And that's what we're anticipating as we get closer and closer to Christmas. So those are the first three. Then we get to the fourth of the O antiphons for December 20th. This one is O Clavis David, O Key of David. And that's Jesus again. He's the key of David. He's the one who can open the gates of heaven. He has the keys. And he gives those keys to Peter in the New Testament in the early church. But it's at the very beginning, Jesus is the one who has the right to those keys. He is the king. He is the one who can unlock for us heaven and usher us in. And we're anticipating that as we get closer and closer to Christmas. Then we have on December 21st, we hear O Radiant Dawn, O Oriens. So O Radiant Dawn, O Day Spring. It kind of makes sense too. It's on the 21st, which is the solstice. So We also get, oh, radiant dawn coming, like dawn is coming again. Christ is the radiant dawn. He's the day spring. He's the one that's coming to bring light to the world. We don't dwell in darkness anymore. We dwell in light. We are freed from the darkness of sin and brought into the light of Christ because he is the light. And it's just kind of amazing when you start meditating on that, and it falls on the solstice then. So it's the shortest or the longest night of the year. So the days start getting longer after this. And it's just really kind of beautiful the way it all ties together. Okay. The sixth of the O antiphons is for December 22nd, and it's O Rex Gentium, or O King of the Nations, King of all peoples. It reminds us Christ didn't come just for the Jewish people. He came to save all of humanity, to bring everyone back into relationship with him. And that doesn't end with where we are physically right now. It extends to everyone. The church is open to all people of everywhere because Christ wants to save all of humanity. He doesn't want to save just individuals. He wants to save us all. And we all have that opportunity then to share the love of Christ with the whole world. Okay, I hope you're following now. So we're getting on to the last one, the one that everybody probably knows. It is December 23rd, and it is O Emmanuel. And this is God with us. Jesus is God with us, literally God enfleshed among us, coming as an infant child. And these are the O antiphons. They're telling us Christ is coming, and they're revealing so much about Christ as we anticipate Christmas. And okay, so I know I said there were 7, the last 7 days of Advent, and it goes from December 17th to December 23rd. So you're probably wondering, what about December 24th? Isn't that the last day of Advent? Okay, here's how this gets explained then. So these are the O antiphons. They're the antiphons for evening prayer for each of these last days of Advent. And evening prayer on the 23rd of December is the last evening prayer of Advent, because evening prayer on the 24th of December is evening prayer 1 of Christmas. So we have to end these before Christmas. So we get through O wisdom, O Lord, O flower of Jesse's stem, O key of David, radiant dawn, King of the nations, Emmanuel, and then we're at Christmas Eve. And what's really beautiful is the reason I've said these in Latin as we went through them is because now I'm just going to say the first letter of each of them in Latin, and we're going to go start with Emmanuel. So we're going to E, then R, O, so arrow, and then C, R, A, S, aerokras, which translates to tomorrow I will be. So the whole thing ends, and then we've got Christmas Eve, and we can meditate on tomorrow. He will be, Christ will come. He's coming at Christmas. It's not just he's coming sometime. He's coming tomorrow. Tomorrow he will be. And it's a really beautiful way to meditate on really the coming of Christ as we're leading up to Christmas here. And we're really anticipating the coming of Christ both at Christmas and at the end of time. And we know that that time will come eventually. And it's kind of amazing as we're meditating on all of this. It really comes down to tomorrow he will be here. Like, we're almost to Christmas. That's what these O antiphons mean. And that's part of why they become sung in songs. And the first written song, I believe, was in the 1600s. It was in Latin originally. And then it was been translated through the years into other languages. It's the song we know, O come, Emmanuel. And it's really the O antiphons. Each verse is one of the antiphons, slightly translated and finessed because they don't always rhyme exactly the way they do in the song, but they do in the song. So I think I might sing parts of the song, at least because I actually really like this song. It really is beautiful, and I actually learned it in Latin a long time ago. So I always, typically when I start the song, I start it with the verse in Latin for O come, Emmanuel, and then I switch to English. It's kind of strange, but that's the way I have always sung this song, so that's what I'm going to do. Feel free to sing along. Veni, veni, Emmanuel, captivum solve Israel, puis gemit in exilio, privatus Deus filio, Gaude, Emmanuel, nascetur pro te Israel. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lowly exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou rod of Jesse, free thine own from Satan's tyranny. From depths of hell thy people save, and give them victory o'er the grave. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou day spring from on high, and cheer us by thine advent nigh. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and death's dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou King of David, come, and open wide our heavenly home. Make safe the way that leads on high, and close the path to misery. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, O Lord of might, who to the tribes on Sinai's height in ancient times didst give the law, in cloud and majesty and awe. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou wisdom from on high, who addressed all things mightily. To us the path of knowledge show, and teach us in her ways to go. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, desire of nations, bind all people in one heart and mind. Bind envy, strife, and quarrel cease, and fill the world with heaven's peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. So I know my singing's not the best, but you get the idea that we know these from that song. And the song, even I didn't sing the verses in the right order, because usually they'd be sung one each day and not all at once, but all at once is how the song was written in the 1500s. So I hope you learned something about the O antiphons, and you have a great way to start anticipating Christmas as we get closer to it with the liturgy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great Advent. God bless.